Hello, guys. Welcome to yet another episode of HearthBreakers, the game where hearts are broken and cards are played. This week, we'll have some very nice focuses. For example, Michael here. He actually won the last ManaGrind tournament, so we'll be focusing a bit on that. Apart from that, we'll touch on some subjects like deck building, and we have our some decks from the community that we want to show off that they sent to us. So we are very appreciative of that. And yeah, Michael, could you elaborate on the table of contents if you have something to add?
Yeah, sure. Uh, I have to make this work actually. Okay, so we'll start off, of course, with the introduction. We are already well through that. Um, then we'll touch on the competitive future of Hearthstone. Artosis raised some questions in his podcast, and we'll be answering some of those as well as adding a few more questions to this topic. Then we'll go through the meta discussion, standard, what has changed in this meta since last time, what is happening right now, what is the hot deck. Then we'll go through our current decks, what we are playing, as well as what I was playing at the ManaGrind tournament, which will be the next topic. Then we'll go through some deck building, as Henrik said. We got some decks from our viewers, and we'll be looking at those and see how we can fix those decks if they need to be fixed. That is, and in the end, we'll have the typical deck challenge. So that's the special for you.
Sounds good.
Yep. So I guess by all means, let's talk about some competitive future here. So Michael, if you could start here, or Dario, which question should we start with?
Yeah, sure. So the question Artosis asked was if the community should run the competitive scene, and more, especially more the question whether Thinkmaster or the
NetPegel, right?
the NetPegel, yeah, should be banned.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sorry, I have to mute Skype as well. So yeah, if some of you could touch on that, then I will fix the interface.
Yeah, I can speak a bit about that. I think really NetPegel and Thinkmaster they're really a pain if you don't have them, because they are so good. You just want them in every deck. So in some way, I'd like them to be fixed or banned, but I kind of like having like the big company run the game. I'm really impressed by. I know Pokemon has been run by the community, and I'm really impressed that some people do so much for the game. But I think there's just much more potential if you have like a big company running the game and
bigger prize pools, I guess.
Yeah, everything. So. But I must say, like I've heard from you guys a bit as well. I'm a bit disappointed in the efforts Blizzard has put into it. Like if we compare to, for instance, Dota 2, there has been like there was a tournament while it was in beta where there was like 1 million in prize pool.
Yeah, that's a good Kickstarter, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Blizzard's intention was never to make Hearthstone so competitive, but it just seems hard to make a PvP game these days that will not have any competitive players. Like there will always be someone who tries to play it competitively.
But I believe that in the States, in North America, they've actually had quite a few of the bigger tournaments, just not in Europe. Maybe I'm wrong.
Have they been organized by Blizzard?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Blizzard had one. Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, they had the BlizzCon event.
Yeah, right.
That
was of course super early, but they had something.
The biggest problem I had with the BlizzCon event was simply the fact that it was run during the closed beta. So Blizzard haven't really hosted anything since open beta, and they haven't hosted anything since BlizzCon either. All tournaments have been community hosted by ManaGrind or whatever.
Well, you have to consider the fact that Blizzard, when they created Hearthstone, they never planned it to actually become as big as it is, and nowhere near did they plan for it to be actually like competitively viable. They said that in an interview. I think there was with Eric Dodds not so long ago, where he said that they were really surprised by the amount of like requests for competitive features like observer mode and such. And because of all of these things, they are starting to. I think Blizzard is just starting to see the potential of Hearthstone.
It's funny you mentioned observer mode, since I would say observer mode is not really competitive at all. Or of course it is used in competitive play.
I think you would need a spectator mode.
It's like any casual player would like to see what his friends are doing right now in a game. Maybe talk about some plays and things like that. It's not really a.
But the thing is, there was an interview with the lead esports coordinator of Blizzard, where she said that, where she was asked by ESL, I think, or I'm not sure if it was ESL, but anyway, some big tournament place online. I think it was ESL. Anyway, they said that they really requested the observer feature in order to make big tournaments, because it would make it so much easier to stream those tournaments, the finals, because right now you have to basically request that both players stream the games, and it's not always possible. So in order to have big tournaments like ESL host Hearthstone,
we need observer mode. I agree.
You need observer mode in order to lure in the public.
Yeah, I just want to point out that it wasn't a competitive only feature.
No, of course not.
And we see, like you said, that in the card design, many of these cards are not competitive minded. And on that topic, NatPegel and Tinkmaster.
Yeah, I think they have a couple of choices, right? It's either ban them or fix them, or just keep them as they are. So there's 3 choices.
I really doubt they will ban them, because they haven't banned any cards,
Blizzard
and they have changed a lot
Blizzard
of cards.
won't,
But
we're talking like the private tournaments.
Why does NatPegel have 5 HP?
I don't know. It's maybe the old version of NatPegel. Well, that's even more broken.
What?
That's even more broken.
Holy shit!
But I know for the King of the Hill, Atosis said that he would be banning NatPegel. I'm not sure about Tinkmaster. I don't think he mentioned that card. But NatPegel would be banned for the next King of the Hill, so it's already in motion.
Yeah, card one.
And I would kinda agree with that move, but at the same time, I would rather Blizzard do it. Like, I would rather Blizzard fix it.
The card is like never bad. You can almost play it in all decks. Even against Rush, it's still 4 HP that you gain. Like, on turn 2, that's pretty good actually. I don't know. Should we keep talking about NatPegel, or should we talk about...
I have some...
Okay.
I'd like one point. I think putting NatPegel to 3 health would basically solve the problem, because you can't deal with NatPegel early game, because Frostbolt, Wrath, Lightning Bolt, everything
Fiery War
everything deals 3 damage.
But maybe it would just become useless.
I'm not so sure.
The thing is, at 3 health, you still a 1-for-1 guaranteed, and a 50% chance 1-for-2.
No, like, yeah, if you kill it with a monster, it's gone.
Yeah, of course.
The thing with NatPegel is that many people actually, there was a thread on Reddit where many people suggested changes for NatPegel, and the one I actually preferred was actually to simply just make his effect so that it draws at the start of your turn instead of at the end. That would give you the option to react to it before it draws a card. so you wouldn't actually lose advantage even if he got lucky, and it would still be a pretty good card if you couldn't insta-kill it.
Should he still be 50%?
Yeah, 50% and 4 HP, exactly the same, just draw at the start of your turn,
So
which means...
I think it'll become too weak of a card then.
I don't think so, but I think it will still be very annoying. And one of the main reasons we talked about banning him was, of course, he's very strong, so he's in every deck. And besides being in every deck, he determines many plays. Without spoiling too much of episode 4 of the episode 5, I think, the team effort thing. In the fight night here, season 3, NetPegel decided all the games. Straight up, NetPegel decided the games. He was lucky for one team and unlucky for the other team, and so the team who was lucky with NetPegel straight up won because of those cards. And this is the reason why we don't, as a community or as competitive players, don't like NetPegel.
The thing is that, well, you could argue that's like one team was really, really lucky with Pegel and they had him really early every game. But if you draw him on anything but the starting hand, he's not that broken. Like, he's still good, but he's not like insanely broken. And I think just giving it so that you draw at the start of your turn, that means that if you have an out to him, you can actually just kill him, and then it's a 1-for-1, and then it's like...
That's true.
Then there is no 50% chance to actually just get behind before you can do anything.
I still don't like a card that forces you to play an out as a 2-mana.
Well, most legendaries do that.
That's the thing about legendaries. So,
but NetPegel, like, you can beat Net. Like, if you play a rush deck, like this, the reason why I think NetPegel affected the ESGen was because both players were playing control decks.
Yeah.
And I think in control versus control, NetPegel is really good. But if you're playing like an aggro deck, you can often just, like, this is my experience, you can often just ignore the Pegel and then like just hit him in the face because you don't really need card advantage.
Yeah, you're playing for board control.
Yeah.
That goes for a lot of cards. So, Tinkmaster, he was also on the discussion list here. I personally think Tinkmaster is just straight up too strong. It's a little different. It's a little different in the way its random mechanic works as compared to NetPegel, where Tinkmaster is a little more calculated risk, where you have to decide whether or not to play him, where NetPegel just, I throw him out and pray. Tinkmaster is a little more, if I get the squirrel here, I win the game. If I get the dinosaur, I lose the game, but can I win in more turns if I don't do it? Kinda. That way.
An interesting fix for that one, but I really don't know if it solves the entire problem. I've heard that they, instead of 1-1 and a 5-5, they would make a 2-2 and a 4-4.
Wouldn't fix
to kind
the
of.
problem.
No, I think you're right.
I agree that it would fix a little bit of the randomness, but I think the problem with Tinkmaster is not the randomness, but more that he's just too strong. Straight up too strong.
So what would
because
you
it's
suggest?
also a minion. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, you can't make him make like a 4-4 every time, because then you just use it on your own cards all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't be good either to make him make a 3-3 every time, because that would be really strong as well. Then there would just be no risk, and the card would just be too strong.
Would it be too much of a nerf to put it at 4 mana?
I think so.
Yeah.
I would not play it in some decks if it was 4 mana. But anyway, I think that actually, I think possibly Pegel could just, Overspark could get fixed if he was just a 1-1 creature.
Oh yeah, if you nerfed his stats.
That would help, because 2-2 is actually quite a good stat.
Like, if he's a 1-1 and you get the squirrel can kill your Tinkmaster, and then it's kind of, I guess it's okay.
That's true.
That's a legit one, yeah.
I read somewhere that they said that they don't have in mind to fix it. Like, they don't like to touch cards. unless it's really, really necessary.
Well, to be honest, like I don't really mind Tank Master. I think it's like sometimes you have to risk it, and you have to be like YOLO, and then you do it against Hirudva, and then you just lose the game because you get to 5-5.
Because I'm a lock.
But
By default.
yeah, but sometimes you like you have to do the risk, and sometimes it pays out, sometimes it doesn't. I think it's decent, but I think I do play it in all my decks. I think so. Maybe that's a problem.
Yeah.
So
like what if we put it on 4 mana and then make it a 2/3, and like the Tank Master itself, its own stats?
you would definitely be weaker, and I wouldn't mind that since I hate this card. So.
But you play it yourself, right?
I don't own it, so
Oh.
that's more reason for me to hate it.
Same.
Yeah. But yeah, I think unless there's any more thoughts, we'll move on. So the next question is one I want to discuss whether or not the ladder system right now is too simple for it to feel skillful as a skilled system.
In connection to what? Like how? What's the problem with the ladder?
Okay. My problem with the ladder. Let's start with that. My problem with the ladder is the randomness of matchups. So the game itself is pretty random, but you're playing with these. Like you can play around the randomness. You have some cards. You play them in different scenarios, so it's not completely random. Then the game would not be fun or interesting. But the matchup randomness is 100% random. There's no control. You can only kind of change your deck a little bit against certain matchups, but you will never have all-round good matchups.
I think they could fix it by making it a best-of-3 format, but yet again, that would also make for longer matches, which might scare some people away.
Yeah, I agree. That is my beef with it. As of, I will draw on my Yu-Gi-Oh experience here. They had an online simulator for Yu-Gi-Oh, which also only included best-of-1 matches to begin with, and you couldn't use that for anything. You couldn't use it for tournament testing. You couldn't use what you got, any experience from that system to anything. It was just useless to play on it. Then they implemented best-of-3, and all of a sudden I could actually test before tournaments with this system. And I feel it's a little bit the same with the current ladder system.
Yeah, by doing this, you'll remove a lot of these gimmicky decks that are just good. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, you can still play like the opponents. The opponents still don't know what you're playing, so you can play like game 1. You can play the gimmick deck if you want.
Yeah.
Or game 2, like you can like if you're facing like a shaman game 1 and you lose, then you can bring out your hunter, charge shit, and then just kill it because it's really good against shaman. And
well, that's just like you can cheese in StarCraft 2, and that's a perfectly legitimate tactic. But in average game, if you know the cheese is coming, you should just, like in StarCraft, if the players know the cheese is coming, they are able to prepare for it. And in some way, I agree that there should be a possibility to play like those gimmicky decks that can take out maybe a control shaman, or Hunter is really good against shaman. But I think if you can make a control deck if you make a control deck and you know you're going up against like Rush Hunter, you should be able to make a deck that wins most of the time.
Yeah, what do you mean? If you know you're gonna go up against Hunter, or what?
Yeah.
So that's basically what I'm saying. Implement some kind of side decking feature.
Yeah.
I think Yeah, I don't know. Dario?
I think definitely, if you're gonna implement the best of 3, you definitely have to make it so that you choose your decks in advance, like 3 decks, or did you mean 1 deck, best of 3s?
I mean 1 deck best of 3s, but
With
I don't know.
side
Side
decking.
Yeah, with that side decking, like a dedicated side decking system.
But then you would have to like that is completely new to Hearthstone, so you would have to like implement side decks and make some new rules for that and such.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about just choose 3 decks best of 3s?
The problem with that decision is basically you have to have more cards to play, so it becomes even more pay to play, pay to win.
Well, perhaps you could play the same deck again and again.
That would still give you an edge. I don't know. I feel the best system for ladder would basically be, in my opinion, side decking.
But you would still need cards to side deck.
Yeah, of course. But those cards would usually be something you could use for any deck you play. But with the current card pool, I'm not sure it would fit in to implement this system. But I don't know. I would just rather see ladder with a little more skill, and then you could have those single matches in casual or whatever.
I guess. Well, what do you feel like? What do you think about the statement that ladder is becoming useless because people can play? Like, if you ban Nat Pagel and to some extent Tinkmaster in tournament settings, then people could still play them in ladder. Do you feel like that would also make ladder useless?
Yeah, it would definitely make it less viable for competitive deck testing, because the decks you would meet are not the decks you would meet at the tournaments. So yeah, definitely, if the community makes rules for the community tournaments, and Blizzard doesn't like do something to meet the requirements of the community, and like we get this this disjoint between the 2 formats, definitely the latter will lose importance in regards to the tournaments.
Yeah, I believe it was Savages who said that if tournaments would start banning Nat Pagel and Tinkmaster as he would hope, then he probably wouldn't play as much. Like, he probably wouldn't play ladder. He would just play against friends and then be like, hey, let's not play those 2 cards. And then you practice that way.
Yeah, I think that is the only way to really practice for reals. I'm sorry I said that.
Yeah, against friends, I guess.
Yeah, I would practice against friends as well if I wanted real feedback. What to side in if I was going into a ManaGrind format. I can't really use any of the results. I can't use I lost horribly to Hunter because I wasn't able to side in taunts. I can't use that for anything. I can adapt, and then I can see, okay, now that I sided in, now that I main these taunt cards to combat Hunter, now I lose against, I don't know, Warrior maybe.
Black Knights.
Yeah, nobody's playing Black Knight though. But yeah,
nobody's playing Black Knight. I don't know if that's true.
Now I lose against something else, and you want to make your deck as good as possible, wherein the deck is adaptable. But yeah, I guess that's, I don't know. It's a little hard to cover this topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, you feel like what do you say, Nat Pagel? Can we get a vote?
Yeah,
who likes Nat Pagel?
I hate Nat Pagel.
I don't think anyone likes Nat Pagel. I think the question should be, should the community ban it? Yes or no?
And I would say
then let's ask it like this. What do you feel should be done to Nat Pagel? Should he be nerfed? Should he be banned in tournaments, or should he simply be like, I don't know, third random option?
Third random option.
Even
Definitely
as
third
less-
random
It's
option.
definitely that Blizzard should. That's my opinion.
Blizzard
should
should change it completely. Make it only viable. Make it bad, and only viable
Make it
for.
bad.
Yeah, just if
Much
you
hate.
really, if you want to have a card that either 50% of chance, no, what I don't know what I'm saying. 50% of the time, it is really good, and 50% of the time it is utterly trash. Then you should make it like Gilding, like just make it a bad card that people can have fun with. I don't want random cards with no thought in my competitive decks. So, yeah,
Gilbert
basically.
has a lot of thought behind him. Look at all his awesome inventions.
Look at all the awesome inventions. So
Chicken.
basically, I want random cards to be bad, so you can have fun with them, but they won't have an huge impact on the metagame or.
And I think it's fair enough that they have those cards, by the way.
Yeah. I don't mind random cards, but I just don't want them to be so good that you need them. Like in average, Nat Pagel is too good.
Yeah.
If you have a random card that is in average below average in power, then sometimes it is amazing, and sometimes it is really shit. But in average, it will not help you in competitive environment. Then I don't mind that since people will not play it.
So what you're saying is you want the average scenario to be
Bad.
below average.
Yeah,
I guess,
below average in power. Yeah, exactly.
in power.
Yeah. But
And not above average.
No. I want random cards to be below average in power.
And that goes for
Seems fair
Ragnaros
enough.
as well, or what?
Ragnaros is a little bit different. I would say yes. I would rather.
I think the main reason why people don't have a problem with Ragnaros is that he is an 8-drop, and there are so many outs to him, like big game hunters and shit.
Yeah, true.
Like even if he gets kills like a minion, if you can kill him for free next turn, then it's like one like he goes 2 for 1, you go 2 for 1.
I think Ragnaros would irritate me a lot. I don't know if the thing about Rag is he's a little bit more calculated risk than these two cards, I feel, and he's a little bit below.
Such a
power.
late game card as well. Also.
Yeah, and the late game cards, you don't like they are allowed to have such a huge impact.
Yeah, true.
Where a 2-drop.
Not a turn 2 drop.
Yeah, a turn 2 drop should not have such a huge impact that it decides the game.
Okay, fair
At
enough.
least in my opinion.
I get your argument.
Well, how do you feel like Tinkmaster then?
Tinkmaster, he's just too strong. It's the same argument. He's a little bit more calculated risk. I talked about this earlier, but I still think in general he's just too strong. His average output is above average in power.
Well, his average output is like what, a 3-3?
Yeah, and that's I would claim a 3-3 is too strong.
But like, I think the point is that Nat Pagel, no, Tinkmaster is a 3-drop, right?
Yeah.
And in average, he's way stronger than the average 3-drop.
But he's also a minion.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
you have to take that into consideration.
He's also a legendary.
If it was a spell, it would be no problem. Like,
If we just look, if we say the average is a 3-3, if you put it on a friendly minion, then you have 5/5 stats for 3 mana.
You need to create.
Of course,
But
you sacrifice a dude. So of course you sacrifice a dude.
The thing is that like most, I don't know how people play, but most of the time I feel like Tinkmaster is a card that you save in the hand, and then you use it later, like late game, basically, like after 8 mana.
Yeah, I would agree in general, but I
Where-
have seen
Like
good
the
players.
earliest use, yeah, of course, like if you're playing against Hunter or like Warlock aggro, then there's no reason to save your Tinkmaster, so you might as well YOLO it. But if you're if you're playing like, I don't know, if you're playing, like usually you would put Tinkmaster in a deck to counter like late game cards.
Yeah.
And for that reason, like having a 2/2 on the board in late game isn't that strong. Like it's strong if you think about it as a 3-drop, but you don't really use it as a 3-drop. That's the point.
Yeah, most of the time. But
Usually.
like a quote from Reynard, he likes to put it on a 1/1 minion in the early game, since 50% of the time you just win the game. If you get a 5/5 in turn 3, what are your opponent gonna do? Can't do anything. It's, I don't know. If we come back to the average output of 3/3, if you have a minion for 3 mana that silences and puts a minion at 3 health and 3 damage, it's just, yeah. I feel it's too powerful in general.
Yeah, well, I guess so. What's the final verdict? What do we do with Thinkmaster? If we were Blizzard, what do we do? Do we leave it? Do we nerf it? Do we say?
I would put it at 1/1, and then I would test it a lot. And if I still hate it, I would increase its mana to 10.
4. Yeah.
And I would use the same logic as mind control. Simply, it's not fun to have used against you. So put it at 10 mana. Yeah, I would.
Like
yeah.
Any different opinions?
I think 4 mana is maybe the correct way to go. Like they did to Sylvanas. Like Sylvanas was playing every deck. They put it to 6 mana. Now it's usable.
Now it's a good card,
in a
but it's
few decks.
Yeah.
Well, when you think about it, would it make that much of a difference if it was 4 mana? If you think about it as a late game drop.
As a late game drop, mostly no, but it would remove, as Michael said, the crazy possibility of playing it on turn 3 and making a 5/5 out of your Argent Squire who is used.
Well, what about this solution then? Just change the card text to enemy minion. What about that?
I don't think it'll.
Like you said yourself, most of the time you use it on an enemy minion.
Yeah, but
yes, but it would remove versatility.
Yeah,
I admit that.
It would think
help?
about it.
It would
remove
make it even more random. Yes, good decision.
The way I feel about it is that I feel like the scenario where you use it on your own minion, like turn 3, use it on your own minion, get a 5/5. That's like the best case for Tinkmaster. Like that's where you win the game.
Yeah.
And it has basically no risk, like, or not that high risk. Like if you play Paladin and then you have a dude and then use it on the dude, and then it's like, well, it didn't get anything, but whatever, you still use it.
It's just like you play a 2/2 on your turn 3, which is, I guess, not too bad.
Yeah.
If you use it at a 1/1 Divine Squire or something without the Divine Shield, I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, I feel like if you it's just something I just came up with right now. Like if you could only use it on enemy minions, I think it would actually solve a lot of the problems. And
yeah, probably.
And I think changing it to 4 mana, it might solve the same issues, but I don't know. I feel like it would also kind of unnecessarily nerf the card.
I want to unnecessarily nerf the card, but I already.
Yeah, but then you should speak your opinion, because then it's biased a lot.
It's biased by the definition I mentioned earlier, that I want random cards to be below average.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway.
Yeah, let's move on.
What is the next point on the list? I think we should move on. We've spoken a lot.
Yeah, we should.
I think the last point in this topic is competitive teams, or teams in general.
Yeah, we already mentioned a little bit how if you want to do real testing, you test with a friend. Same argument I have with teams. You need teams.
What do you think about them like implementing a clan system or something?
It would be cool, but not really do anything. But that's how it works in every game, so it is cool and doesn't do anything.
But like,
What
Like-
about
like-
for tournament settings?
Having team versus team.
Yeah, like the ESGN format. Would it make
ESGN format
would
is-
it be more user friendly? Would it add to Hearthstone, or would it just be like whatever?
It would add to viewing Hearthstone. It's more interesting to see 4 people, like they have the human interaction, which is way more interesting to watch than just one person playing one person 10 times or whatever. It's I like the team, even if the game is not made for teams, and even if there's not really any difference in the gameplay from having one person to having a team. It's more interesting seeing the team interact and play.
Yeah, I personally I would never have gotten into card games if it wasn't for like the interaction with friends and such.
Yeah,
having a team,
exactly.
like the whole reason why I played Yu-Gi-Oh so long is because of the people, basically.
Yeah.
So, of course, you lovely guys. Shout out to Team Ragnarok.
Yeah.
So what's the conclusion? Yes, we want some kind of team.
Teams are
Well,
interesting.
obviously, we might be a bit biased.
Yeah, I guess, but like, should there be like implemented some kind of clan or team system in the game?
I think you could implement a clan system with no effect other than, hey, look at us, we have the same tag, and it would make people happy because they can share, hey, we are in this team, even though it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I have a bit, like, I've been playing WoW as competitively as you can, PvE wise, and like I was in a really big guild, and we were not just talking about WoW, we were talking about physics, everything, that just normal stuff, and I really liked that part of it. It was like you were part of a really good community, because like the people who was in there, you knew them. I really liked that part of it when I was really into WoW.
Just normal stuff like physics.
Yeah.
Just
We
not
discussed
day-to-day stuff like physics.
yeah, everyday stuff like physics. Yeah, sorry, studying physics at the moment, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Even I think I've said this 10 times now, but even with no in-game effect, just the whole we are a team, we have a social connection that we can show off. And when we show it off, we gather together in Skype and then we talk about random stuff and we become friends. So I would definitely like to see this kind of system.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
think conclusion. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Well, what's the next topic, Henry?
Meta
Will you
discussion.
guide us.
Meta discussion.
Next topic here is the meta discussion, actually. So we're going to talk a bit about Hunter again. We've talked a lot about Hunter, but let's jump into it. I know, Dario, you've been really happy about Hunter lately on the ladder. Is that true?
Oh.
Yes, it is my number one favorite deck to play against on the ladder, and I love it so much that I dropped 3 ranks because of it. It was so lovely.
Fantastic.
Oh, we are the same then. I hate that. Deck.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan. I'm really not a fan of Hunter.
I think none of us really likes the way Rush Hunter is played, because it seems so brainless. Like there's, it's like almost really often there's one choice, and it's just throw your monster attack and do it every turn.
Yeah, and if there's a taunt, I take the taunt.
Yeah. Like, it's too easy, and it's too good, and it's too annoying to play against.
Especially the annoying part. It takes away so much fun.
Yeah, like half the game is removed, since half the game is after 4 mana, and we don't get to play these cards. So half of everything we can do is removed, and that takes half of the game away. So half as fun.
Yeah.
Half stone.
breaking it down.
HearthStone, yeah. Good jokes.
Yes.
Yes. But Hunter, why are they back? Since I know that they were gone, and I was happy for 2 weeks.
And now they're back.
And now they are back. Explain to me why.
Well, it's pretty simple. If you watch the SGN, you can pretty much see why.
Yeah.
It was like, well, I don't know if you should spoil, probably shouldn't. But anyway, watch ESGN and you'll see why Hunter is back, and
it's not because they destroy everything.
Terrible.
Yeah, and the funny thing about ESGN is they made it like the show was made right after the patch, and that's about a month old, I think, a month ago, where Hunter was also popular for us. Then they disappeared, and now that we watch people play Hunter 1 month ago, it's suddenly getting popular again.
Yeah.
Oh, ESGN, I hate you for bringing Hunter back.
Well, I don't know. It was.
Yeah.
But I felt like the Dage House Hunter deck actually was a lot better than some of the Hunter decks I saw before.
Yeah.
And now the problem is that everyone knows what the really good Hunter deck is, and now everyone is playing like exact fucking copies of that Hunter deck with like 1 or 2 changed cards, and it's so frustrating. Like even if I was so frustrated that I went into the deck creator and I took a Druid deck and I named it "Please Win Against Hunter," and I just wrote in taunt in the search bar. And I just put in all the fucking taunts that I could, and I still lost to the Hunter deck.
Mogashan Warden, too strong, man. That one attack will kill everything Hunter play, and that 7 health will eat everything. So
yeah, but you'll still lose.
Yeah, but you'll still lose. They will just owl the dude, and now you look stupid. Yeah. So, what else has changed?
There's this Paladin deck going on. Personally, I haven't met it, but it's some kind of Paladin deck that plays huge monsters, very late game-ish. I don't know if you've met a lot of it on the ladder.
Not really.
I haven't met that, no.
Maybe you, Dario. We have it on the list here, so I guess we should go through it.
I don't know.
It's another one of those. Hey, we saw it on ESGN. Now
I saw the deck on ESGN, and he did really well with it. I don't recall who it was that played it. Was that one of you?
No, I can't remember. And I think that is better for not spoiling, but yeah, it is.
True. Yeah, okay.
It destroyed.
So much spoiler possibilities.
So much spoilers. But yeah, it was just destroying Wrecking Face. And then in another round, I think it lost a game. So the first game was something. I don't know. But
well, what do you think about is it like really late game decks? Is it viable in this meta?
Nope.
Not with Hunter running rampant.
I'm so sure about that.
So the Hunter deck, the Rush Hunter, and possibly the Rush Warlock, is the reasons why late game can't be played, or it's not as good.
Well, if you play like Paladin deck, I think you would just lose to Hunter every time.
That might be.
It seems like it anyway. Like it feels. The Paladin deck feels like a bit slower but more stable version of the giant Warlocks. Or perhaps it's not.
But giant Warlocks is super stable. Don't get that wrong.
I guess it's a less stable version, but it's more robust against like. I don't know. I guess if you don't damage yourself, maybe you can survive longer. Like you can summon dudes to trade a bit.
Yeah, the positive area, no, the positive side of Paladin is the heavy early game. Not early game removal, but the board clear.
From consecration equality.
Yeah, consecration equality, while Pyromancer plus whatever will kill everything a Hunter will hurt you. But it's a little bit slower. It wants to go even more late game than the Warlock
because
deck.
Tyrion.
They play Tyrion, They might play Ragnaros. They might play Ysera as well as the Giants. So they play even more late game since they have so much board wipe all the time.
Yeah.
Like I think actually, I don't remember who it was, but someone mentioned that it might be actually worthwhile to run the Doomsayer in Paladin. To just
I've seen that actually.
To just like the idea behind it was that you use it to get through the first 3 turns until you get to turn 4, when you can actually deal with shit with your Paladin cards. Like you get True Silver, you get Consecration, you can actually make some board presence, which is really good. So if you get like a Doomsayer, like if you're playing against Rush, they play like, I don't know, a minion or 2. And then you play Doomsayer, and it can, like, he can play some minions, hit you directly, and then he will lose everything. And then it's your turn 4, and then you can play something. So I think it's pretty good. It's like a free, now it's my turn to be ahead kind of card, I guess, in early game. Because like its effect resolves in, I think, the start of your next turn, right? So it kills everything on the board, and then you can play something for your 4 mana.
Yeah.
Then they have to react to your plays instead of reverse.
Yeah, it gives you the board control, basically.
Yeah, basically. So I think it's an underrated card, actually.
Yeah, it might be. But again, okay, if you say, like, do you think there's so much Hunter that the late game is not too viable, and the game or the meta right now is mid game oriented, or is Hunter just the meta?
I don't know, man. I would want to say that there's many different decks, but like, I don't know, if for the past 2 or 3 days I've been playing a lot of ladder, and like 8 out of 10 decks are just this exactly same copies of the 100 deck. It's terrible. So I don't know.
I hope it will die out at some point. It seems like this kind of cycle where if you make 100% anti-hunter, at some point the hunter deck will die out and something new will come in, and then you adapt your deck again, and then it's just a rinse and repeat.
Yeah, it was kind of the same both with the Black Knight. Now you mentioned it, it's not so much played anymore. It was played in everything a while back, and maybe also the same with big game hunters, was also played a lot in a short period of time. And those cards might just they might just cycle in and out as the meta changes. Yeah, you might be correct on that one.
Yeah, I guess might be, but I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like the 100 deck is too consistent against counters. Like, you can, if you're lucky enough, you can put out immense amounts of burst, and you already play the 2 silence owls in the deck to be able to deal with big taunts, which is probably the best counter. So I don't know. I feel like it's too consistent against counter decks. That's my biggest problem with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess there's no finishing.
Yeah, not really on this topic, I guess.
No. So.
The next year coming up is actually what we are playing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can start off with Chris. You just today you made this new priest deck, right?
Yeah, it was
today.
Yesterday actually.
Yesterday. Okay.
And I've been playing quite a lot. I went from rank 9 to rank 7 with just a single loss. And I really find the deck to be interesting. Because like normally you consider priest to be like probably one of the most late game decks defined by mind control. But the version I've made is actually really early. Like, there's Northshire Cleric is really good to turn 1 if you can get it on your field. Amani Berserker, like, there's just a lot of cards to put down on the field and create board control. And And if you get any damage in, it's really good. And then you have the obvious Prophet Velen to finish off with the double Mind Blast. And
the obvious.
yeah, like no, I mean, when Mind Blast and Prophet Velen is in the deck, it's obvious that you want to combo them. A note should be that if you have both Assured Drake and Prophet Velen out, the spell power will be added first, so Mind Blast will go to 6 damage, and then it will be doubled afterwards, so it's actually 12.
Cool.
Which is quite important. Then I also play I only play one Circle of Healing. I would maybe like one more, I'm not sure. It's not too good if they clog your hands either, but I think one is okay. A card that really works well is Earthen Ring Farseer. Comboing with Archnight's Soul Priest is really sick. It's like, fire elemental effect for 3 mana. That's just insane.
And you can even attack directly with that also, right? So if you need the burst.
Yeah, you can.
And the hero.
Yeah. Oh yeah, true.
And then like there is some really funky interaction between Amani Berserker and Crazed Alchemist. If you enrage the Amani Berserker and swap, like if it goes to 5/2 when you attack into a 1/1, if you then swap its health and attack, it will go to a 2/5 that is not enraged, and then you can enrage it afterwards again, so it will go to a 5/4. That's really, I've done quite a lot, and it's really, really good. You can have it like a 5/4 in turn 3 or 4, something like that. Turn 3 if you coin the Amani Berserker.
There's no Shadow Word Pain.
Intentionally, it was actually an accident. When I played, like after 3 or 4 games, I realized I'm not drawing very many Shadow Word Pains. I might not have put them in the deck, and at the later thought, it was like I actually would rather play my monster drops than play my Shadow Word Pains. Of course, if I have Shadow Word Pain on something like Water Elemental, it's really, really sick. But like say against Warlock Rush, I'd most likely rather play a Amani Berserker instead of having a Shadow Word Pain.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
think.
I really like this take on Priest. I might try it at some time in 10 years when I get Prophet Velen.
Yeah, also like I play Smite. Smite does kind of the same against the low health monsters, but it can go for the kill, and it combos really well with Prophet Velen. Yeah, I think one card I really considered is Ragnaros, because it also has the element of burst, but I'm not sure. I currently like the way it is built right now, but it might need a little tweaking.
If you want to fit in Ragnaros, maybe try only playing one Holy Fire. If there's not much I can really tell you about Priest, except I don't like double Holy Fire, so that's the only. Yeah.
Well,
I
in
really-
this particular deck, I think it's necessary.
Yeah,
because
it might be
so.
for the bird.
I haven't played Holy Fire with Prophet Velen on the field yet, because they kind of want to remove the Prophet Velen as soon as possible. But I've done Prophet Velen into on turn 10 Prophet I think I had an Assured Drake on the field, and then played Prophet Velen and Smite and Mind Blast to the face for 18 damage. That was quite funny.
Balanced.
Yeah, Mind Blast X2. I think.
I feel like one of the most annoying things about priests is actually Holy Fire. Like it's people underestimate the difference that basically 5 health can give you. Like free 5 health. It's just really good against decks that rush your life.
Yeah.
Like sometimes when I play priest, I would even, like if I'm low and they have no field, I will just Holy Fire their face to gain the 5 life.
One question: do you think of course, it can be like depending on the situation. But in general, do you think Holy Fire is better than Starfire, the one from Druid that lets you draw 1 card and deal 5 damage? Which one do you think is better?
I think
Starfire sucks and Holy Fire is playable.
Starfire doesn't exactly suck, in my opinion.
Actually, I've experimented with Starfire and Druid.
It's not a bad card. Like
it's pretty good in the
like
mirror match.
I don't like
if you
it.
think about it, like all of the Druid stuff has like 5 health.
Yeah, like one of them, right?
Or like Yeti kills the 5/5 dude, kills like Bane, like Kane, Sylvanas, kills like every single dude in their deck.
Yeah.
Except Druid of the Claw, that's the only one that doesn't kill, but you can hero power.
Fair enough.
It's a little bit same argument. I think the mana cost is way too high for a removal spell. I don't like when the mana cost is 6 for removal spell. You cannot combo it with a Sure Drake. You cannot. There's really little you can play together with a 6-drop remove, like 5 damage. 5 damage is nothing.
I guess, but
I don't like.
Well,
5
the thing
damage.
about it is that it gives you advantage right on the spot.
No, it does.
It does because it lets you draw again.
Entire turn, deal 5 damage.
It's really a late game card. I admit that, but
yeah, exactly.
I'm not too much a fan of it myself. But yeah, I don't know.
It's the same with Starfire. I think it's too slow, or it's too late.
Yeah, okay.
Kind of card. Where I like Holy Fire more than Starfire, but I would try out Holy Fire at 1 if I made this deck, and I might be wrong, since this is all theory. So I'm not saying what I'm saying is.
Personally, I'm a fan of Holy Fire and Priest. Yeah. That's all I can say. For the Priest I've played, I feel like it's just a necessary card to deal with stuff that you usually can't deal with.
Yeah.
And
Yeti.
Yeah, Yeti and the 5 health is just really good.
I can definitely understand that argument.
I think it's like it's not much of a is Starfire or Holy Fire better. I feel like it's more of a deck specific thing.
Yeah. I would agree.
Like Starfire is not good in Druid compared to the other Druid cards. Like Druid has so many good cards, you need to play them. You don't have room for Starfire.
Yeah.
And in Priest you don't have like Priest has good cards, but they don't really have anything on 6 mana except for Cabal, I guess. Well, actually, they do. That's but they don't really have.
They don't have the removal for 4 attack monsters, basically.
Yeah. So it looks good.
So, let's go to Dario's deck. I guess would be the next one coming up here. What are you playing right now?
I'm actually. It's kind of a funny story. It was from the video I made, the funny video thing on our channel.
Yeah.
And I actually made it like while recording that, and it was completely spontaneous. I was playing the ladder, and I just got like, okay, this is so crazy that it might actually work, and it's been working really well actually. So it's let me just get it up on.
It is loaded up.
I was just loading it myself. So yeah, basically it's just I guess you could say standard-ish Warlock aggro with a bit of meta choices for the matchups that I felt like were necessary to deal with, and yeah, it's been working really well. I believe I went with this deck from around rank 7 or 8 to almost rank 3 in a couple of hours with this deck. And it was working pretty well against Hunters because Voidwalker is insane. Like it goes 2 for 1 most of the time against Hunter. And cards like Mortal Coil are also really good. And the thing against Hunters is that if you just get a little bit ahead early, you can rush them faster than they can rush you. And you can have the possibility to get huge defenders of Iris off on things like a buffed Golem or like it can get crazy. So yeah, I feel like it does pretty decent against Hunter. It does pretty good against most decks, actually. Like, if you get a good start and they don't have any answers, you pretty much win the game.
Seems very strong against Hunter. With that Voidwalker and that Argent Squire, you build up a field that basically deals more damage than he will do each turn.
Yeah. So he has to deal with your board, and the only reason you really lose to Hunter with this deck is if they get like insane explosive shot RNG, like they get 2 explosive shots on start hand. I mean explosive trap, and like they need 2 to deal with it. And if they get both, then you probably lose. But yeah, that's the
game. The name of the game.
So yeah, a couple of choices. I really like Tinkmaster. Like it's basically, it's more aggro-ish. Like you usually win the game by going for his life points, and for that I've chosen to use Tinkmaster and the Black Knight for taunt removal. They've been working pretty well. And I have I have 1 power overwhelming to give the final push with Leroy usually. Together with Soulfires, of course, pretty staple in, I guess, every Warlock because it's a good card.
Yeah.
And everything else pretty much. I'm actually looking at it. I'm considering to take out 1 Yeti for 1 Argent Commander, but I'm not sure. I would have to test it, but Argent Commander is just really good. Yeti hasn't been testing that well because you usually want to play a buff minion on your turn 4.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I don't know. I played this, not exactly this deck, but a version of it a while back, and I was not too fond of Argent Commander. I just felt like you have the ability to play 2 monsters, so like you draw an extra card, like if you get late game. So I'd often just rather draw an extra card and play 2 monsters instead of playing the 1 Argent Commander.
Well, it depends a lot, but generally I feel like his charge effect has been working out really well as well. Like you can just hit face with it for 4 damage. It can usually mean that you can win next turn. So, and
I think to me it just looks like a very standard 2002 Warlock aggro, like.
2002.
Yeah, the Warlock aggro we saw in the beginning of the game existence. And now it has come back around and it's good for this meta, which is a great meta call. It just looks standard. Like solid and standard.
Yeah, it's been replacing my last mage, like my mage deck, my mage aggro. It has replaced that in my 3-deck formation.
Yeah, it's more solid, you think?
Yeah. Like it's just mage aggro was kind of hard against Hunter. If you did not draw mirror image, then you would basically lose.
Yeah, and even if you draw mirror image, they just play Unleash the Hounds.
Unleash, yeah.
Throw down,
and all the mirror images die to explosive trap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Then you cannot push for damage when he puts down 1 trap.
Yeah.
It's just.
I feel like currently the Hunter deck does what the Mage aggro deck does, but better.
Yeah, I agree. And Warlock aggro does it better than Mage as well. I would say.
Well, I guess. Well, not really. Not in the same sense.
No, it's not exactly the same, but yeah, feels more consistent and solid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. So should we go for the deck I play right now? Or
yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah. And it's up.
It should be up. Oh, it's exactly in there. In the screen. So.
Yeah, okay, there we go. So this is actually kind of a hybrid of our Violet deck from last week, which actually ended up working out pretty well. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, yeah. The last episode. So the basic idea is, of course, you get your tokens up with your Violet teacher. And that's why we have Hunter's Mark in here. It works really well together with the Violet teacher, since it puts the minion to 1 health, and then you can trade next round with your token, or at least force your opponent to make bad choices, as well as it's really sick with a Knife Juggler and Unleash the Hounds also. Sometimes a single Knife Juggler can just win you the game, because Unleash the Hounds and all the tokens, and there's so much spam in there. The reason I stopped playing it for a little while was because the Hunter came back, and it's in the mirror match. It's kind of silly how bad it is to spam so much because of Unleash. So,
Yeah.
And then if we also look at the Sea Giant, as I mentioned, there is really a spam deck, and it's very normal to get Sea Giants out on turn 3 or 4 sometimes. So that's pretty sick and really funny also just to drop a big guy. And of course we have the Gadgetzan Auctioneer also together with Hunter's Marks. We have so many 1 and 2 mana spells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 spells that cost less or 2 mana. So you'll definitely get some value for the buck doing this.
Value for the buck.
Yeah, and even your free drop would normally be the Animal Companion. So also there you can get some advantages from Violet Teacher and Gadgetzan. So looking at it, it looks maybe a little inconsistent. But to be honest, it was winning a lot until the whole Hunter wave arrived. So
it's really the same problem I had with Shaman and Violet Teacher. Since Violet Teacher is just so strong, but it kind of fuels enemy hunters. So enemy hunters just destroyed. I can understand that. But
it's a bit sad that you make a fun, unique deck that works out pretty well, and then but this is just better. So I play this, and now I win. It's a bit sad, I think.
I wouldn't say it's strictly better, since they do absolutely 2 different things. I would claim this deck to beat some kind of mid-range, late-game-ish deck where you overwhelm the player with tokens, you destroy the big dudes with Hunter's Mark and some other thing. You still have kind of an early game to pressure it. So this seems like a mid-range that beats late game. It seems to play very much the same. It plays the same as the Shaman deck that I am playing. It seems that way, in my opinion, or when I look at it.
Yeah, it's kind of a mid-range deck, but even late game it does have outs, which is why I like it.
Yeah.
I feel like the difference is that you kind of exchange your hexes for deadly shots, and I feel like hex is much superior.
Yeah, hex is superior, but at the same time, you do not have Unleash the Hounds in Shaman. So
you have Unleashed totems, and then you can give them totemic might, and then you can just like pew pew pew.
Wow, wow, wow. Yeah.
All the combo.
But yeah.
Yeah. How about no?
But no. Yeah, I would agree that Hex is superior to Dead Shot.
Yeah, and
obviously. But yeah, they play in the same fashion, but they're not the same deck, obviously.
Yeah.
But turn 3 Sea Giant, how often?
Turn 3 Sea Giant, it happens, but you need an Unleash for that, and you need to like be against someone who also spams a bit.
Yeah.
But it can happen, definitely. And
so what you're saying is, you can get you can get it out.
Even if you get it out turn 5 or 6, it's still super good. So, and at around 5, 6-ish, it will come out almost for free because you can begin spamming at that point.
Yeah. That I like how Sea Giant in this deck is kind of like Molten Giant and Warlock deck, where you can play your ability and then reduce the cost by 2, so it doesn't matter. And in this deck, often you can say, hey, I play Unleash the Hounds first, then I get 2 dudes, and now the Sea Giant costs 2 less. So in the same way, you get to play extra cards for free.
Yeah,
it's just.
But you don't have to lose your HP, so I think that's a good thing.
I have a question for the deck. I haven't seen many players do it, but personally, I think Frostwolf Warlord is a really strong card in decks like this. Have you considered playing it?
I've considered testing it, but this deck, unfortunately, I stopped playing it because of the whole, Hunter stuff. So, I'll when this kind of goes away, I'll experiment with it. And not Frostwolf Skull.
Warlord. Yeah, Warlord.
Yeah. He's definitely a good addition, I think, because he'll usually come out as 7/7 or something like that, at least.
Yeah. I think Sea Giant is just strictly better.
Yeah, it might be.
If you don't have Sea Giant, you can play Frostwolf.
I guess Frostwolf is susceptible to silence as well.
Yeah, the difference is Sea Giant.
But Frostwolf has a set mana cost. So
Frostwolf gets stronger, but Sea Giant gets cheaper. And most of the time, your Sea Giant will be about 5 mana, where most of the time a Frostwolf will not go above 6/6 or 7/7.
I think in this deck, it will go above 6/6 quite often. But yeah.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah, but how often will it be stronger than 8/8?
Yeah, that's not so often. I will admit that. So yeah, probably you're right. The Sea Giant is probably better
compared to how often Sea Giant will be a 5-drop. So.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, but maybe you should play both. I think.
Why not both?
Why not both?
I think that was fine actually.
Play 2 of everything. Yeah.
What if those were your only late game drops, like buff cards, like buff yourself with minions on the board?
They are the only late game cards.
No, but if you just like removed Hymen and removed like I don't know.
But Hymen is the only one. So.
Remove Hymen and multi-shot, for example, and then I don't like multi-shot.
You could, yeah. Multi-shot seems like a good one-off to me. It can just wreck face, but I haven't played Hunter, so I really don't.
It's been testing pretty well. I feel I like that a lot better than Explosive Shot for sure. And it is not a rush deck, so it's good to have some removal of some sort. And I don't know. I think it's pretty good. It has been testing okay, but it's something that could be taken out for sure, I think.
Yeah. The deck is just funny in general.
And it's really, really fun to play. I encourage you guys to try it out.
Also just the deck list is fun. There's so many one-offs of cards that you usually see 2 of. Like Advent Squire and Harvest Golem cards you usually see 2 of.
The deck is really consistent as it is, but it can be much more consistent, I think, if you play around with it for a bit. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have too much time to actually play this week, but I think if you experiment with decks like this, it can definitely be fun.
Yeah. So, any last comment for the Violet still in circulation deck?
There's so much synergy in the deck, which is why I think it's super funny. So many cards that work together very well. So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, boy.
So, my deck, I think will be covered in the next segment. So let's just move ahead to the next segment.
Which would be ManaGrind.
Yeah. ManaGrind 16 actually.
So, Michael, did you grind that mana?
I grinded the mana, and I grinded it all the way with what is the name of my deck here? ManaGrind Shaman. What do you know?
Wow, such creative.
No, please don't use that meme. I hate it. So,
Much
yeah,
hate.
I have loaded it up here, my deck list. Quick note, this deck sucks at laddering, and you should not play it right now, at least, since you will straight up lose to Hunter. And the deck is designed for the side deck format, where I have the power of Violet Teacher in the first game, unless I'm against Hunter, where I'll just get destroyed. But yeah, I have the power of Violet Teacher, and then I can change it out for Sentient Shieldmaster or whatever to use against Hunter or whatever rush I'm against. Yeah, so some of you might have seen the video I put up, some of you might not, of my journey through ManaGrind, where spoiler alert, I win everything. Or
Oh, nice.
I win that specific ManaGrind, and they run weekly, so it's not like it's a huge achievement, but it's definitely cool to be able to beat it. I was a little lucky in the matchups. I mentioned earlier how the ladder system is very luck based solely on the matchups, and I definitely had good matchup in this tournament. Or I didn't have good matchups per se, but I didn't meet Hunter, and I didn't meet Rogue Control, which are two decks that outright destroy the Shaman build. But the Shaman build will beat every other deck. It will beat mid-range decks because I can out mid-range them. If I'm able to kind of battle it out in the mid-range, I have strong spells to control it and take the upper hand. And then I can drop fire elementals when I get a little more late and just turn over the field. And late game decks I beat since I just out tempo them by winning the mid game and then finishing the game with bloodlust or a huge field. But the deck loses out to aggressive decks since usually my best play is to coin out a free drop. And if that play isn't Feral Spirit, I have lost by turn 5. There's nothing I can do to take back the early game. So early aggressive deck speeds the deck, which is why another reason why this deck loses out to Hunt. And then in ManaGrind 17, I played in that. I was matched up against 200 decks in a row where I was able to win the first one by drawing Sentient Shieldmasters, and they didn't draw Owls, so I was lucky there, but I couldn't beat the second Hunter. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, I feel like this deck is very strong, like super strong, but it loses to aggressive decks. So if you play in a 3-deck format, you have to have some kind of deck that can destroy early decks, and you have to know how to side deck, and there's not really much to say other than the huge amount of shit I just pulled out.
One note. What's your reasoning for 2 Earthshocks?
I played one in the start since me and Dario made the deck together, and he played one Earthshock, so naturally
I still do.
I tested one Earthshock. But as I played the game, having 2 Earthshock helped me against it gave me more options against Karen, basically. If I was playing against some deck where I felt like Hex would be good, but I didn't want to waste it since he might play Karen, and then I just lose from there if I wasted my Hex. But if I have both Hex and Earthshock, I can use Hex on something else that is dangerous right now and still have the Earthshock for the Karen and make it put it down to 4 health, where my Karen can destroy his Karen, or my 4 damage powered up lightning bolts or whatever can destroy it. So that 1 damage, and then getting rid of a 4/5 body with the silence effect is really effective. As well as just killing most aggressive decks. You want Earthshock, since you can destroy the Lebanon and not get the damage. And you don't you would rather have Earthshock than Rockbiter or Lightning Bolt, since Rockbiter will still damage yourself if you hit into the Lever Gnome, and Lightning Bolt, since they you usually use it on your turn 2, since like if you start, they play something at their turn 1, then you get your turn 2, and you have to use Lightning Bolt to remove it. Then your crucial turn 3 is removed. Since turn 3 is where you want to play Feral Spirit, Harvest Golem, Unbound, all these cards. So Earthshock is just way better as early game removal than Lightning Bolt and Rockbiter. It removes damage from Lever Gnome. It removes the draw power from what is it called? The Loot Hoarder. Where Earthshock, I played against some giant mage deck where Earthshock was the only useful removal spell since it removed the Loot Hoarder, and that it was the only early game, or the only thing I could really remove outside of giants with Hex. So I like Earthshock at 1, no, at 2, since it's just more early game, yeah.
I guess.
More options.
Well, do you have any more comments about ManaGrind?
The format itself, I like the format itself. You might want to have some kind of spice out there. You might want to have a team playing, which can inform you what other people are playing, since there's a lot of rock, paper, scissors going on in Hearthstone. I know the guy I played in the finals, he had both a droid. I'm saying droid. That's a
Droid?
Yeah.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
Exactly. At my university, they're saying droids all the time, so it's getting into my head, man. He played both druid and warrior and switched between it. I guess whatever he felt like playing. I don't know why you would change your deck unless you have some kind of insight on what you're going up against. And I might have a suspicion that he had some insight on me, since he chose warrior over druid, where druid is usually a bad matchup against shaman. So get that insight, but you can win without it. I did. Just play every week. If you're good enough, at some point you will hit the right deck, hit the right matchups, and you will win.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it for ManaGrind, yeah?
Yep.
Well, I don't know if I should just quickly tell about my achievements for this week, because I didn't really get to do it.
Do that.
Well, I guess I won Thursday, I think. I won the X-Plane tournament, which was really nice. And this weekend, I went to a Danish LAN event that actually had the HearthStone with quite a few contestants. I think we were like 40 people. And there were some pretty good players. One particular player was legendary, and quite a few that were ranked 5 and below. So it was pretty good competition, and I actually managed to win that as well. And both of them were the 3-deck format. So where you can get to play like 3 decks, or choose 3 decks and then swap it.
Which ones?
What do you mean?
Which decks were the 3 decks?
I played my Warlock Aggro, the new one that we just saw, was usually my first deck. Then I would play my Shaman deck, or our Shaman deck, with my version. But I think I took out Violent Teachers for Shield Masters, just because I felt like Hunter was getting big and such, and I kind of wanted the extra taunt. And my last deck was
Druid.
Yeah, it was, and I remember. My last deck was Taunt Druid, where basically I would play more taunts than usual. I'd play. I'll play the Ancient Butcher engine, and then I would also put in Senjins instead of Yetis, and I would play a single Ancient of War as well. I think it's called.
No
Yeah,
The 5/10.
Yeah, it's Ancient of War.
Yeah, definitely. And I managed to win that tournament as well, and there was quite a good prize actually. If you can just give me a sec, I can actually show it here.
Oh, great.
Look at this, baby. Look. It's
Nice.
oh, yeah. Well, it's a new as keyboard. It's worth like I think
Sell it to me for
$1,000.
$2.
I think it's like worth 1,200 kronos, which is like how
230 bucks or something.
Yeah, something like that.
yeah, which is really nice, and it's kind of top edge stuff. So yeah, really nice. And yeah, I'm quite satisfied with the result. It seems to go a lot better for me in the 3-deck tournament than it does in ManaGrind tournament format.
Yeah,
So,
it's all about having these 3 decks that complement each other. So.
yeah, and I feel like that's like I think I've kind of made that like pretty well with these 3 decks currently. And I'm kind of like, I have a pretty good idea of how the matchups work and what I want from my specific decks for certain matchups. And I feel like things almost always turn out as I expect, except when some decks just overperform. Like, I think in the finals, I played against a dude who was, I believe he was legendary. And I think he played first round. I played Shaman. I was expecting him to play some kind of control, so I picked Shaman as my first deck. Then he played Hunter Rush.
Yeah,
I was really sad, and then I lost the first game. And then I basically just picked my super ass, lots of tones and shit druid, and then it won me the next 3 games in a row, which was kind of amazing. It was I managed to make some really nice plays. Like I wish I could have recorded that, but yeah, I didn't. I forgot. So yeah, too bad. Anyway, overall, I really like 3-deck formats. I think it brings a lot of variation and strategizing to the game, and that is definitely like how I prefer to play the tournaments.
It's definitely more viewer friendly. So I like that at least in these tournaments that we are watching, ESGN and stuff like that, they use this format since it's way more interesting to see 3 completely different decks and see the matchups than it is to see one deck where 2 cards or 3 cards are modified. But in terms of like pure skill or competitiveness, I think they are equal. I think the 3-deck format or the side decking are on equal count.
Perhaps, but anyway, one final note about the live tournament, the LAN tournament. It was simply amazing to play a Hearthstone in front of a crowd. Like in the finals, there was like 5 people standing behind me, just watching my screen and my moves. And even when like there was this one turn where I was looking at my screen, and for I think 2 minutes I was just staring at my cards and at the board and trying to figure out the best play. And you could hear like a needle drop. People were behind me; they were all so silent, like I couldn't even hear them breathing.
So
and
then
then
it was like 5 fat nerds. That was it.
yes.
But
anyway, it was
it was
and
a crowd. It was
I finally made a play that like it was really good play. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like I made something that was unexpected. Like I made some crazy play, and it turned out really well. And people behind me were just like, "Wow, that was an amazing play!" Like instant feedback from the crowd. It was just amazing.
Cool.
Yeah, it was crazy good.
Yeah, and I said fat nerds, but okay, no offense against fat people. I'm a bit chub myself. It's
What?
Okay, let's move on to the deck building. And I mentioned earlier how we got a deck sent into us. Is there anyone who knows the dude? Send it in.
Believe it was just a random viewer.
Yeah, but we would like his name, I think. If we can, do we have that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't have that.
I guess, but whatever.
It's a Druid deck that's up now. Yeah.
Yeah, I loaded up the deck, which is obviously a pun for Barney Stinson. So.
Yeah.
And
I think it is a combination of that and the fact that he plays a lot of legendaries in his deck.
Yeah, of course. You don't say. I didn't see that one.
How to state the obvious.
So, first impressions?
Lebanon is weird.
Yeah.
That was my first impression.
I would agree. Lebanon is kind of weird. Like a second favorite dragon would be more reasonable, but even the favorite dragons are kind of, I don't know, a little weird. Only me.
Perhaps.
If
Fairy Dragons feel like he goes for a lot of damage early.
Yeah. Fairy Dragons is definitely playable.
That kind of contradicts the rest of the deck.
No, he's playing the Force of Nature thing.
Yeah.
But he's not playing. Okay, never mind. He's not playing the Savage Roar.
It seems like a kind of regular late game druid, but with the single fairy dragon and the single leopard gnome.
Yeah.
And the Force of Nature. Like, yeah, it seems like a mix.
Yeah, a little bit of a mix.
There's no Sun Furies in here.
Yeah, there's no Sun Fury, and also there's no Ancient of Lore. So he has actually no draw power.
Oh,
but
so
that might be alright with all the legendaries.
Yeah, it's not that bad. When I played late game druids, the problem, I had no problems with draw since I was only playing one dude each turn anyways, since they were so late game, so high in mana cost. But when I transitioned to a more mid-range Savage Roar East Druid, then I needed the Ancient of Lore to draw me cards. So. With Ragnaros scenarios and Ysera, I don't think draw is a huge problem.
I definitely think you need to fit in 2 Sun Furies.
Yeah, I agree. You need 2 Sun Furies to make Ancient Watcher more consistent, and since it's so late game focused, I would, just in general, Sun Fury to sort out the game, and even like against Hunter. So.
Yep.
So what? Is that a Lebanon cut? Since that Lebanon seems so random.
I think Lebanon and Fairy Dragon cut for 2 Sun Furies.
Yeah, 2 Sun Furies. I would agree.
Yep.
So you still have
anything else?
Yeah, you still have the option of a drop, but now
I kind of would like to take Force of Nature out, or put Savage Roar in, because they just combo so well.
I wouldn't.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, I'm not sure you should put Savage Roar into a deck with Rag.
No, I agree. So I guess my point was take out Force of Nature.
Take out Force of Nature for Sylvanas.
Yeah, maybe.
Or Cain. No,
Cain. Yeah.
Cain. He doesn't have Cain in the deck.
It might be because he doesn't own it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Theoretically, put Cain in.
Yeah, put in Cain just to make their name even more relevant.
Yeah. Do you think there are too many late game drops? Is it too heavy?
There might be. There might be one too many, but it's not. I don't think it's a huge
It's not
problem.
too bad, I think.
No. I like scenarios. I like Ragnaros. Ysera might be a little 50-50. I'm not 100% sure on Ysera. But since there's not much to stabilize the board earlier on, there's Ancient Watcher, of course. You could try keep the Ysera and see what happens.
What do you think about 2 Ancient of War? Is it okay?
I would probably change 1 out for Lore, Ancient of Lore, but I don't mind. I don't mind having an Ancient of War now that Black Knight is removed, since Ancient of War just.
Well, he's playing it himself, so.
I don't
I
think
guess.
Black Knight is.
But yeah, it's not as
No,
dominant
in
as it
in
was.
the meta. I mean, the meta.
Yeah.
No, but I don't think it's. Like, I think people actually play it a lot currently.
I haven't seen it whatsoever.
That's because people only play Hunter and they don't
Yeah.
play the Hunter. But in every other deck, I feel like people play it.
Yeah, that might be true.
That's my experience anyway. I even played myself, so.
True. I don't know. I think it has seen more play, but yeah.
Yeah.
It is definitely still like.
But definitely, I feel like Ancient of War can be a really strong card, especially against Hunter decks.
Yeah.
It's too late, I think.
No, dude, Innervate turn 5, Ancient of War.
Yeah, that might just straight up win you the game, but then an owl come down, and then it doesn't really matter.
But you have so many taunts in the deck, you can easily stall.
I would actually say that Ancient of Lore, because when you get into that 7 mana spot against Hunter, they usually just win with their hero ability. They don't care about whatever you have on the field. And at least in
then
my
you make it
experience.
10-5, you go for the face.
but then the alternative is healing yourself for 5, surviving another turn. I don't know, it's a little. I don't mind having, at least since they are both strong cards, I would rather have one of each than 2 of one, since you in that scenario where you draw both, you have less options.
Yeah. Okay. I agree on that.
That's
Okay, so to round it up, we're saying
remove
minus Leperno, minus Fairy Dragon,
put in
and minus Force of Nature, and 1 War.
Yeah.
And then put in 2 Sun Furies and
Cairn and Ancient of
Law. Yeah.
Yep.
And if it tests, like if it feels like there's too much late game, you might. I would say remove 1 Ysera and try out maybe Sylvanas or
Hogger?
Maybe a Yeti?
or a Yeti. Yeah.
Hogger.
No, I don't like Hogger.
No.
Don't tell people to buy Hogger, since they already have Silverhand Knight, and Silverhand Knight is better than Hogger.
But it doesn't give a taunt.
Yeah, but it costs 1 mana less, and it's not legendary. Woo!
And it doesn't say when you.
Yeah, exactly. It's not growling. So, yeah, that's I think just make the deck a little more consistent with the Ancient Watcher, with the Sun Furies. Yeah, it's just figure out what the theme of the deck is and go all in with the theme. Not don't try. Don't try too much randomness. Don't try to fix your mana curve by adding a random Lebanome in. It's not helping in this particular.
But I think he just feels kind of icky in that deck.
Oh.
Do you agree? Oh.
Don't go there. You already did.
Just stop now.
Yeah, just stop. So, moving on to the deck challenge, or?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's.
So let's start up with the druid, I guess.
Oh yeah, the decks. Yeah.
Maybe we should mention about the tournament we had beforehand.
Yeah, we're gonna change the format a little bit, up the stakes. So whenever we have a challenge, we will play each other in a in-house tournament or whatever you call it, with these decks, and then we will find a winner, and the winner will have some kind of advantage for next time when we roll out classes, and he will have a fancy icon which I just put on the winner. Yeah.
Yes.
So he wrote and won the last tournament.
It was good.
I think in the future we might also give a little footage from there, just a little bit.
Yeah, if we can get some footage. So. We're sorry about not having any footage this town. What? This time around? Yeah, exactly.
In this town.
In this town. So. Yeah, but we're looking at the cheap druid. Henrik.
Yeah, so it's cheap. So what is the thing about this is I just tried to make a good curve and then just play it like it's arena almost. Like you make this good curve and then of course there's some things in here that might seem a little weird. Mark of Nature, I think I like that because you can turn into a more of a rushy kind of deck with this. And the Starfires are just so you can actually remove something late game because when your Wrath won't do it, or maybe just hit the face. I guess it's apart from that, it's just standard, and the Iron Bark protectors are really great when you think about only basic cards.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have any comments on it? Just I threw it together pretty quickly, and it performed well enough in the tournament. I got second place, I believe, out of 4.
Yeah,
So.
I would say I lost to Mark
Above
of Nature.
average.
Above average. I lost to now Mark of Nature buffing a dude up with 4 attack more and Savage Roar. It's so much damage.
Yeah, I had that 16 damage Spellbreaker.
And the random Starfire in your face, you don't see it coming since, like, I myself...
Why would it come? So, this question.
I myself, I don't like the card, so I don't expect to see it. So I lost to it, so...
Yeah, but it was fun to actually play with only basic cards. The game seemed much more about board control than these instant crazy combos you can throw out.
Yeah, a little more like arena.
Yeah, there you have to go for field control.
So, next up is the mage deck. Whenever I get it loaded in here to the fancy system. There we go.
So I think when I actually prefer that you give me your opinions on the deck first, and then I know kind of what to talk about. So what do you guys think?
There's no 1-drops, so it looks solid. It's just
there is 3 1-drops.
Oh, there is? I can in the mage deck. I don't see it.
Yes.
We're talking about 2 different things. There's no.
I think we are.
There's no tech cards. There's no lone survivors. There's no lonely dudes. There's 2 of everything.
Oh, in that way.
Yeah.
One-offs. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, one-off.
Like I feel like it looks like a deck, like a kind of a rush mage deck that I'd almost play for constructed. Like it has all the early game cards that you'd play normally, and you have the Berserker and the Raging Worgen for the enrage effects.
Yeah.
Like double Stengian Shieldmaster would probably not be played, and probably you wouldn't have 2 polymorphs if you played so early game. Maybe only 1 less flame strike as well. I don't know.
Actually, it was kind of like this deck actually had like a lot of thought behind it. Like it wasn't just an arena deck as most people would make with basic cards. It's like the combos with Enrage. Like it's basically based around the Enrage. That's why I have 2 polymorphs in as well. Because if you think about it, if you play Worgen on turn 3, they play a minion, you polymorph it, then you can hit it with Worgen, get enraged, and hit him, and then you have an enraged Worgen, which is pretty insane, actually. That's also why I have the Shieldmaster, so that if you have an enraged monster, you can drop the Shieldmaster to protect it and hit the face. And then they basically have to use spells to fix it. And yeah, as it base centers a lot around the enrage effect, and you just basically have the 2 flame strikes as late game outs. And you need the Arcane Intellect. Possibly you would need some more draw power in the deck, I figured. But yeah, basically it just goes for really strong early game into winning in the mid game, basically.
So you would have liked maybe what is it called? 1/3 that makes you draw every time it takes damage.
The Acolyte of Pain.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I would actually consider that, yes.
Okay.
Not completely sure what I would take out, because I haven't really looked at the deck in a while, but definitely Acolyte of Pain seems like a good choice.
Okay. I guess that was kind of it about the mage.
Yeah, I think we rounded it up pretty good.
Michael is gone.
Michael? Did we lose the Monkeinator?
I think we might have.
That's a big problem since he's the one with all the images. Is he still on Skype?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, let's talk about how you felt like the deck challenge went in general. Like, how did you feel like playing with new decks or kind of a new format, to say so? I know Chris hated without the legendaries.
Yeah, it was really sad. You will see it when my decks come up. I kind of liked the way, as Henrik said, that you had to fight board control. You got rid of all the rush decks. Like, there was no hunter. Of course, none of us rolled hunter. But I think you wouldn't be able to play it like the rush decks probably without the rare and epic cards.
Yeah, you kind of need some. I guess except the warrior, but yeah, it still doesn't work optimal.
Yeah, because you don't have
Leroy.
The 2/4.
And Arcane Golem and
the 2/4 that enrages. You don't have that either.
Oh yeah.
I liked it. It felt a bit like Arena, but a bit more constructed, of course. So I liked
Constructed Arena.
Especially because I won the tournament. Really nice.
And Michael is back. Welcome
back, Michael. Everyone noticed.
Oh, cool stuff.
Cool. Went for the PP or what?
Yeah, the beer had to get out of my system.
Okay, fair enough.
So okay, how much did you talk about?
Oh, we just discussed generally the deck challenge. How it felt.
And we covered the mage deck.
Oh, I see. Well, then we'll go right on to the next one. The no legendaries, the sad face deck.
That is mine, most certainly.
I like the Direwolf Alpha.
I was really happy to get Shaman, because I feel like it has a lot of strong plays to do, even without too many rare and epic and legendary cards. Especially like the hero power of Shaman, I feel is really, really strong. As you can see from my list, I played really early game with both Argent Squire and Abusive Sergeant, and then I played all the buff cards. Like, if I have a totem on the field, I could really often put something down next to it that would make it able to trade favorably. And yeah, even like the one really weird tech card is maybe Cult Master, but again, like, the thought behind it was, if I have a totem and I have only 5 mana, I can play Cult Master and Abusive Sergeant and trade my totem for something. And it just, it kind of was about abusing the totems and building a huge field early and end with either Bloodlust or Overpower with Frostwolf Warlord and Stormwind Champion.
So how did you win your games except being insanely lucky?
Well, I don't recall being insanely lucky. That's only when we play Constructed Dario. But in general, I just had the bigger field, got early board control, and there was not really any coming back, because as soon as I got...
I seem to actually recall the Cult Master doing really well.
Yeah, as soon as I had the board control, the Cult Master became live. Like, okay, Cult Master is useless if you don't have a field. But if you have a field, like, say you have 2 totems, you play a Cult Master and Flame Tongue between the 2 totems. You trade 0 cards for potentially like 1 card and draw 2 new. So Cult Master definitely has a huge potential, I think, if you play it in a deck that is really good at establishing early game field presence.
Yeah, the thing about Cult Master is the fact that it allows you to trade in all the early cards you played into new cards. So you have the early control, and then all of this early control, which is slowly getting more useless since these cards are so low that they get killed for free.
Yeah, they are
more.
weak against Yet.
You can trade those in to get new cards, and now you can play all these new cards as well. So yeah, I agree that Cult Master seems very strong in the deck. There's a lot of low drops and board control. And in general, if you want to make a deck and you are on a budget or you just started the game or whatever, I would try going for Shaman with the Fire Elementals and the Frost Wolf that really...
And the Hex that you didn't play.
For some
I played, I don't know, the game. My intention was that...
I think not playing Hex is good. It was good in this format that we played.
Yeah, but in general, just play Hex.
Because none of us had legendaries, so you didn't really have much to Hex.
You can Hex a Chillwind and still feel good about it. It's so good.
Or the Stormwind champion.
Or the Stormwind, exactly. And yeah, Stormwind and Frostwolf, they are just solid cards for these kind of cheap decks, and I would play them in Paladin as well if I was on a budget. So.
Oh, risk it. Not on a budget.
I'm not on a budget.
And yeah, to point it out again, I won a little in-house tournament. So
yeah, I think we all know from the winning ribbon you have.
From the big ass ribbon.
Cannot be stated enough.
So let's move on to the ultimate loser deck.
Ah, nice.
Which is basically my deck, and basically we ran a round robin style of tournament, and I lost every round. So hence the deck name is Ultimate Loser. And I tried to use all the gimmicks of the warrior deck. I tried to use like Inner Rage and Acolyte of Pain, Whirlwind, Acolyte of Pain, use the enraged creatures, even try to use Gurubashi and even Spiteful Smith. So it's basically I play a lot of enraged dudes and I want to trigger them, and if I cannot trigger them I lose, and that is what happened basically in this tournament.
All the triggers that weren't happening.
Yeah. If I want to make this deck like really good, you can just take a look at Reynad. Reynad made a a cheap deck. He climbed to legendary without spending a penny. On an alternate account. And
was that a warrior deck?
Yeah, he built warrior, and he just built a to the face warrior deck, so I didn't want to copy it. So yeah, basically, if I had to play this deck, if I had to make it good, just throw in more good stable cards and play less situational cards like Spiteful Smith, Gurubashi, Raging Walken, stuff like those are way too situational. Play more the dragon thingy, the favorite dragon. Oh yeah, Shudrake is not really common, but yeah. Favorite dragon, the more weapons, the dude that deals 3 damage on summon and just rush for the face. So, yeah. But I cannot defend this build since I lost. So.
Of course.
Yeah. So, should we get on to the challenge for...
Yep, I think so.
Yeah, sure. Bring it.
Bring it. So this is less of a deck building challenge and more of a we want to see who wins this in-house tournament between the 4 of us, and we might change the format a little bit. So for this week we won't have where is this randomizer? Yeah, for this week it will be, like I said before, less of a how to build a deck challenge and more of a get lucky and play well challenge. And the challenge for this for next week is basically we have to make a random deck and we can, when you create a deck, you can just click autofill, and the AI will fill out the deck for you. So we basically, we have an autofill deck, and then we battle it out to see who can use these shitty cards the best. And we want to mention as well, we had a giveaway in the last podcast, but there were 2 people who wanted to enter, and none of them sent us a deck list. So we had 2 people who said, I want to win, I want to enter, and I replied to them, cool, send in a deck list. 0 deck lists. So 0 deck lists. We can't really have a raffle. We can't have a giveaway for 0 participators. So we think we'll wait with the giveaway in general. The giveaways in general. We want to wait until we have a bigger viewer base. So we'll say when we get consistently 1,000 views on each. In the future, consistently 1,000 views on these podcasts, we will start giving away stuff again. But yeah, it's kind of lame to have a giveaway with no entries. So
True story.
We'll move the giveaways into the future until we have a larger viewer base. So yeah, I just want to cover that while Dorothor was not here.
I am back.
Yeah, he is back, so we can get on with the challenge. I will randomize, and Henry will be first. Rodra number 2, Dorothor number 3, and myself number. So, Henry, you will have the utmost pleasure of playing a random hunter deck.
Oh. Okay.
Nice.
Hero
So does this actually mean it does randomize from legendaries and epics as well, right? As long as you own them?
Yeah, it randomizes from your entire collection.
Okay.
So it's kind of like not true random, since you can kind of control your collection, but we haven't done that. So then Hirudra, you will get Shaman once again.
Nice, I like that.
Dorothor will get Warrior, and I myself, Yar, and I will get Rogue. So basically, we random a deck, and then
I hope you get a Kidnapper. Really hope you get a Kidnapper.
I have Kidnapper, so there is the chance of me getting it, which sucks, but whatever. Yep. I think that is it for this podcast.
Yeah, we've covered I think all that we want to. So any final words here?
Yeah, I would like to apologize for 2 things. I would like to apologize for not having a podcast last week. We had some troubles.
Scheduling.
Yeah, scheduling. We had some real life. We want to actually have a life in real life, and it got in the way. But yeah, we got the scheduling down, and we can almost promise to have the show weekly. We always film it Monday and release it.
If something will change
after.
and we know it for sure, we'll try to notice you.
Yeah, exactly. But
in the previous podcast.
Yeah, but in general, we want to. It will be weekly, and you can expect it to be weekly. And then I also want to apologize for the giveaway. There was no entries. We thought there would be entries. It's 3 games. We had 2 people who wanted the game, but those 2 people didn't want to participate in the way we wanted to give away the prizes. So we want real viewers. We don't want people who just search for giveaway and say, hey, I want to enter, I have subscribed, whatever. We want people who participate in the videos to get these prizes. So Yeah. That's about it, I think. Unless there's any final words from.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah. Generally, I feel like we're still kind of getting used to all this podcasting and stuff, and we will definitely try to grow more as podcasters, as speakers, and as human beings, and Hearthstone players, all at the same time, just for you guys. So check it out. Keep in tune and watch how we grow for you.
Watch how we grow.
Watch how we grow for you.
Yeah, we're getting fatter and fatter by this.
Yeah, I am in my final stage of evolution. So, yeah.
This is near my final form.
You have not yet seen my final form. So, yeah. See you guys, and we're